In this video, I want to talk to you about scale degrees. Now, scale degrees are going to be very helpful when we're looking at scales, and they're going to be very helpful to figure out the relationships between certain notes in a key. So let's take the key of C major, which is probably our easiest key because there are no sharps and no flats. Now, our scale degree number 1 would be C for C major. The way we write this is with a 1, but we also put a little mark on top, like a little hat to say this is our first scale degree. Now the second scale degree is going to be D. Our third scale degree is going to be E, and so on and so forth, all the way up until we reach C again. So the scale degrees go from 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then at 7, we repeat. So, in this case, our C is 1, our D is 2, our E is 3, F is 4, G is 5, and A is 6, B is 7, and then all the way back to C again. So if you memorize the scale degrees, we can start to talk about the relativity between scales. So for example, if I wanted to talk to you about scale degrees 1, 4, and 5, I could easily say, okay, if we're going to look at scale degree 1 in the key of C, and then 4 and 5, we can make hundreds and hundreds of songs just using those 4 notes, or build chords on them to make, again, hundreds and hundreds of songs. Now, how this actually works and is helpful is that if we choose a different key, let's say we choose G major, which is the next key around our circle of fifths, the scale degrees stay the same in the context of the key. So no longer would C be 1. In fact, our G would be scale degree 1, and then our A would be scale degree 2, B would be scale degree 3, C would be 4, D would be 5, B would be 6, and F sharp in this case would be number 7, and then back at G we start over at 1. So we can see how the scale degrees are actually relative to the key that we're in. So if I were to juxtapose our G major with C major, I could show you that the scale degree 1 for C major, let's say I'm going to do this in green to make it easier. Scale degree 1 is C, scale degree 2 is D, 3, 4, we have 5, 6, and 7. So you can see how in this context, I'm going to put 5, 6, and 7 above. You can see how scale degrees 5, 6, and 7 are the same as scale degrees 1, 2, and 3 in a different key. Now you don't have to memorize all of the scale degrees in the different keys, but just know that whatever the key is, be it G, be it D, be it A, that is going to be where we start our first scale degree. And as we go up the scale, our scale degrees are going to go up in numbers up until 7, and then once we hit the same note, we start over. So we don't have a scale degree 50 or a scale degree 25. We have 1 through 7, and then they just start over and repeat. So if I talk about the G on the very low end as being G1, and then all the way at the top we have G7, don't let that confuse you as scale degrees, because that's just the placement of the G on the piano. But the scale degrees are actually referring to the numbers of the notes within the context of the scale. So all of the G's along the piano in terms of a scale degree would be 1. So the lowest G would be G1, the G in the middle would be G1, and so on and so forth. And all the A's in the context of G would be an A2 or a scale degree 2. So that was a brief discussion about scale degrees. Thanks for watching.